We are with Iron Chef Jose Garces at his signature restaurant, Amada, here at Revel, where Chef Garces has just presided over an amazing dinner celebrating publication of his second cookbook, his second book. It's called The Latin Road Home. And Jose, this is really 3 books in one, isn't it?
Oh gosh, I think it's like 5 books in one.
Well, 5 countries.
Yes, it's it's a travelogue. It's a memoir. I highlight 5 Spanish-speaking countries: Spain, Mexico, Ecuador, Peru, and Cuba. And tonight, I was able to transport all of our diners through a tour of all these countries, give them a little taste and sample of Latin culture, and gosh, I'm thrilled that it went off the way it did.
What was it like putting a book like this together, where you're really covering 3 different distinct territories, a memoir, yeah, because you have an incredible backstory yourself, and then a travelogue. You've got 5 distinctly different Latin countries, and then on top of it, a cookbook.
Wow, well, it was challenging. It was a 2-year project, but this is really a story of my life. So just kind of, reliving all those memories and putting it on paper, as well as compiling recipes that I felt like were really true to those countries and really brought like the soul forward. That was the challenging part, but going through it and bringing all those memories back was so much fun.
I mean, I know you were was Ecuadorian descent?
Yes.
Okay. But you also, sample other Latin countries, including Cuba. I found that to be the most intriguing thing. What is it about Cuban cuisine that kind of strikes your fancy?
Well, about 10 years ago, I met my wife, who is Cuban. And I met her while I opened a Cuban restaurant called Alma de Cuba in Philadelphia. And I was fortunate enough to travel to Cuba and learn about the cuisine, the culture, and eat in people's homes in these restaurants. They weren't restaurants, they were paladares, which are basically you go in and you have a meal in somebody's house, and they cook really from the heart. So those experiences were ones I wanted to bring forth in the book.
I'm sure that was your first time in Cuba?
First time in Cuba, and what an experience. I mean, it really felt like I was in a time warp in the late 1950s. Not much had changed, and the energy, the passion that the Cuban people showed was just something that was really inspirational.
Were your culinary instincts surprised by anything in Cuba? In other words, did you go there with any preconceived notions about Cuban cuisine?
Well, I knew it was going to be hearty and wholesome, but I guess I really didn't know what to expect when I was there. There wasn't really a lot of knowledge out there about what was happening in Cuba in terms of cuisine. So I was pleasantly surprised, and the food's delicious.
You've already had 17 battles on Iron Chef America and have a very impressive record. I believe 11 and 6. Will any of the recipes in the book, The Latin Road Home, could they possibly show up on an episode of Iron Chef?
Oh, I think that most of The Latin Road Home, in some way, shape, or form, always shows up on Iron Chef. So that's, The Latin Road Home is really the backbone of my cooking, and I always try to bring that forward on Iron Chef.
I guess the next time you're on Iron Chef, you make sure you have a copy of the book laying around in Kitchen Stadium.
Definitely have a copy laying around. I'd appreciate it.
Jose, thanks again for a wonderful meal tonight. Continued success, and I can't wait for book number 3.
Oh, well, thank you, David. Thanks for having me, and it's a pleasure cooking for you tonight.